Hi everyone, welcome to our 60 days Devops course. Before I start the video, just a quick reminder, if you haven't already, please subscribe. We post new Devops video daily at 7 p.m. So today is our class 7, which is day 7. So our topics is Docker concepts with hands-on example. So what is Docker? So I put a definition here. So a platform for developing, shipping and running application inside a lightweight container. So we create an application that will create an image. From that image we make a container, so we can easily move that container to one platform to another platform. Just give me example and why Docker is came. So before Docker came, when develop any application is if the developer OS is Linux, so that developer is build that application and in Linux. So when this developer move this application to Linux PC to Windows based PC, then that application has a problem because that application has a dependency which is working in Linux fine, but when this application is running in Windows PC, then there is some dependency problem. So that developer need to install some dependency for Windows based issue, then they can run that application. So from this situation we overcome some technology. First the technology come is VM virtualization. Then from virtualization this technique is moved to Docker. So let me give example and we can see what is the advantage of using Docker. So here is a image we can see. So this is virtualization. So what is virtualization? Like in our PC, like it's a host PC hardware. Then in the hardware there is a layer is host operating system, and top of that there is a hypervisor. So in the hypervisor there is if we use like VM1, so this is like one PC. So for this VM PC we need a operating system, so it's a guest operating system, and on top of that operating system we can develop the application. So this is Linux, and we can use this is like Windows, and this is like different operating system like Unix or Mac something. So for that purpose we can use in same operating system different OS, and we can take this application on that environment. Okay, so from these techniques with some programmer develop some concept and get another technology which is like containers. So what is containers? So it's same hardware host PC, then top of that there is a host operating system, and then in the top of operating system you use Docker engine. So in Docker engine we can easily deploy any application. Okay, so there is a few advantages. One is like we don't need to use OS for every application, so there will be some space will be less use in here, and also some resources will be less use. So the main concept is like for using Docker we can easily use our application in any PC or any operating system. So this is the main advantage of the Docker. So there is some few main thing in Docker. So one is image. So image versus container, what is? So image is a blueprint. So like any application has a image, from that image we can run the container. So like we have an image of our Nginx or like Ubuntu. There is already image available for Ubuntu. Then this is called image. So if we run this image in our PC, that is called basically container. So running instance of an image is container. So there is another thing is called Docker file. So what is Docker file? Instruction to build an image. So like when I building any application, so we take the operating system first. So we take Ubuntu operating system, then under that operating system we put some installation, then we put our code on that operating system all these steps will be right in the Docker file. So like this is the theory base. When I will showing this in example, you can easily understand what is this. So another thing is Docker Hub. So when we create an image in our local PC, we need to put in some cloud or internet where anyone can take this image. So we put this image in the Docker Hub. This is like public registry. So one is called is Docker Hub. So we can keep our image or store our image in Docker Hub. And another concept is Docker Compose. So Docker Compose basically when you're using multi-container, so like if we use one database container and one application container and one Redis container, so all three container, like it is difficult to run. So for that situation, we use Docker Compose. So Docker Compose is a tool we can easily run and maintain this multi-container from a single file. Then is come volume. So when we run any container, so if we stop and remove the container, the storage will be gone. So what data we put in that storage, that data will be gone. From that situation we use volume. So if we use volume, our data will be persistent, so we don't lose our data. And network is the connectivity of the container. So there is some network system is breeze, host, none. So when we are discuss the network section, we can details discuss about networking section. So now we see some demo, then we can understand like what's going on. So like when we run any container, so from the container is basically run from the image. I already told you here. So container is a running instance of an image. So basically image is running inside the container. Okay, so let me run the command. So for running any computer, we are using Docker. If we use container, then need to mention container. So nowadays we just easily use like Docker run. We don't need to mention Docker container. Then D is the detached mode and -P is the port allocation, and we use which image we use. So like if we want to see the image like Docker Hub, so this is the Docker Hub registry. So anywhere search any image, like if you are using HTTPD. So this image is already created by somebody or official company. So this is where is the sign is the green sign. This is official Docker image. So this is more secure, and other people are also created. These are also created. So when we inside the image, we can see how we can use this image and what port is allocated there, what version is there. So some people are using different version. So all related issue is here. So how can we use this application? All sample will be we can get here. Okay, so this way we can search any image. So this is the Docker registry. So anyone can find this image from here. So this HTTP image basically come for him there. Okay, so for running the container, so we need to push Docker, then container. If you use a container is fine. Now it is we don't need to mention the container. So Docker run, then we need to use -D. This is for detached mode. So if we don't use -D, then we will stuck in this terminal. So we need to open another terminal to do the work. So if I put -D, then we need to put the port. So this is the 8081. This is our hosting port, and this is the container port. So let me show the image. They can understand the port issue. So when we are any container is running, so this is our PC. So in this PC there is container running. So this container has a port. So this is container port, and we are browsing these this is, if this is HTTP, so we need to browse this port. So in the host port there is another port, so 8081. So this will communicate with this port. Okay, so we need to use this port, which port we could browse, and we also need to mention what is the container port. So this is the container port and this is the host port we are using for access the container. Okay, so that's why we are using 808.1 or 8082, and this is the container port and this is the image name of the container. So we are using 8081. Then what image we use, we need to mention here is httpd. So after run that, it's created a container. So if this image is not available, then it will take some time. So in my PC this image is already available, so that's why it's come very fast. So this container is created. So we need to see this for Docker PS. So we can see this container is running httpd, and anyone can access this by using this IP and the port. So let me open this port. So httpd localhost then 8081. So you can see HTTP default website is coming, so it's working. Okay, so now we can also use like any image we can pull, then we can run the image. So like here is an image like put Ubuntu, or better like this is official image. So if we go inside the like image, then we can see how we can use this. So there is a command basically here like docker pull. So let me elaborate this one. So basically they changed the like infrastructure. So basically there is a command docker pull and the image name, then we can pull the image. Okay, so like if I pull the image, so I need to use the command docker pull then the image name. So like if I use docker pull then Ubuntu, it will download the image. Among there is some image tag, so by default they are using latest image, so that's why he's using latest image. Okay, so if I use docker image ls, then you can see the Ubuntu image is running just now. So now if I want to create the container from this image, just we use docker run -d, then use this image to create a container as like before. Okay, so these are we can download any image, then later we can create a container from that image. So this is the scenario for the use for like if I want to download any image and want to create later a container from that image, so use docker pull image. So basically for downloading any image we are using docker pull then the image name. So now we already told one thing, like how can we create and build a Docker file and create our application. So let me do the example, then we can understand what is this. So like when we are creating like a image, we are using basically Docker file. So from Docker file we can use our own command and image. So just let me create the file, then we can basically understand what's going on. So for that we are using like vi, and we need to make sure the Docker file spelling is accurate. So D is the capital and the rest of the thing is smaller. So Docker file, we need to make sure the spelling is accurate. Okay, so after enter we need to just create the file. So first we need to like what base image we will use, or what like operating system we use, we need to mention it here. So from we need to use what image we want to use. So Ubuntu, we are using Ubuntu, then what version or tag we use in the Docker is called tag, so latest. So we are using Ubuntu and the latest image of the Ubuntu. Then if we want to run any command or install anything in that operating system, or we say is a container, then we need to use run command. So like normally we are using apt get update. Then for separating the command we can use and, otherwise we can run this command is here. Again we need to put run. Okay, so apt then get install -y for is asking me yes, that's why we already put here, otherwise we need to put yes again. So we will type the -y here. So we put the nginx. So apt get install nginx. So we are using to install nginx here by this line. Then like we are using a folder or directory, we need to make some folder. So in the nginx website, like a Docker image file, we can see what is the default nginx working directory. So we can get it from there. So work directory. Then we need to mention the like location var www/html. We already know this. This is the like nginx default file location. Then we are copy our software or application or what website we created in our local PC. We need to copy that software or application to local PC to this container. So for that purpose we are using copy. So what we will copy, just we make a simple index.html file. Otherwise if we put everything, then we need to put dot, then where we want to copy we need to put dot here. Okay, so here is only single file, that's why I put index.html. So if we use index.html or if we put dot, everything is same. So dot means all file will be copied from our local PC to where we need to copy, we need to copy here. So that's why we put dot, and this dot is basically mentioned is the working directory. So var www.html, all file will be copied from this location to this location, that's why we put dot here. So if we want to put a different location, then we could we want to put there, like if we want to put like instead of using var www, then this file will be copied in the var www location, okay, or any other specific location. If we put, we are using the like var www html working directory location. Okay, so then like every container need to expose any port. We already showing it by the image. So this container is exposed in port 80, and all the information we will get from the Docker Hub image. So if we go to the nginx image, and we can see how like which port is exposing, what is this working directory, everything we can get from there. So then for running the nginx, we need to use this command. So we need to run the nginx. Well, this is the command for running the nginx command. We don't need to memorize this one. Okay, so we are cmd is the command for running inside the container. So after creating everything, some command need to be run. So then we use cmd. So cmd nginx, then comma, then g, then Daemon is off. We're using this command to run the nginx container. So our Docker file is created. Okay, let me exit that file and see the file again. So from this is the base image we are taking. So after that image or that operating system, we are installing some dependency or software. For we are using run apt get update, make sure everything spelling is okay. If any spelling is wrong, then when you create the image, that image give me a error. Okay, then run apt get install nginx. To install nginx, we are put a working directory var www.html. So this is the default directory, we mentioned it here. Now we copy our local file index.html file, which we didn't created yet. So we need to copy that file to our dot means same location here. So we need to mention the expose the container port is 80, and for run the nginx command we are using this nginx command. Okay, so like now we need to create the image. For that purpose we need to use docker build. So like I already told, which instance we use, we need to mention here. If we use to docker container, then we need to use docker container. We want to use docker image, then we need to docker we need to use docker image. So what component we use, we need to mention here. So we are using for building docker image, so we need to write docker. If we want to use like this image, so if you want, you can use EMA. We use this one. So nowadays we don't need to use this. For docker build is fine. So then if we want to give this image a name, we can make -t then image name. So like we put Dhaka 21. Okay, then the what is called where is the location of the file. So our docker file is the same location where I run the command. So that's why I put dot. So I didn't create the index file, so need to have Ctrl Z. So I need to create an index file. Get index.html. Welcome. So now this file is there. Now I run this docker build. So if your image is already not downloaded, then sometime it will take some time, but nginx image is already here, that's why it's too fast. So now if I see the image docker image ls, then I can see all my image. So here is lots of image, so I need to scroll up. So you can see Dhaka 21 is just created second ago, and size of the image, this latest version, this is the image ID. Okay, so now we create a container from that image Dhaka 21. So for that purpose we already see the command docker run, or you can use docker container run. Then if we put to detest mode, then you can use -d, then -p is the port allocation. So now we are running 8082, then container run is 80, then the image name is Dhaka 2021, I think 2021. Okay, so I think I put the wrong name. So Dhaka 21. Okay, so 21. Okay, now our image is created. So docker ps, you can see 5 seconds is running, is now 8082. So if I want to see this image, so before it was 81, so make sure it should be different port, because 8081 already used, that's why I use 8082. So now you can see our message is showing welcome to Devops. So our application is running smoothly. So this way we can containerize any application very easily. So let me go to the document. So create the image, we use docker build -t. So all command I use here, I mentioned the documentation, and you can get the documentation in the video description. So now I when I use, like I already told, when I use multiple container, like database container, Redis container, application container, lots of container when I using in our application, then it will be difficult to manage, because we need to run the container for running for every container running for, we need to run the command for like docker container run, then need to make sure the port allocation, and sometimes we are using volume, everything we need to mention in the computer command line. So it is very difficult to manage the container. For that purpose we are using Docker Compose. So we are giving the basic of the everything in today's class. When I taking the topics on that class, we will discuss more about that topic. So just I'm showing what is Docker Compose. So for Docker Compose, for that purpose, we are using just a simple file. We need to mention the version, then we need to put service name, then what is the service name of the container. So like we put the service name. So because this service name, one container is communicated by with other. So if we want to use another container, that should be named like DB. So the DB name would be container to communicate with this name. So this name is very important. So what image are you using, like Nginx, and what ports we are using, like here we're showing the port. So 8082, these things like mention it here, and this is the syntax we need to mention. This is YAML syntax, so we need to mention this way. So indentation should be perfect. So if we use web in this line, then it will not working. So let me copy this file. So get Docker, and make sure the compose file is accurate, and the extension is YML or YML. So if we put any different name, then we need to make mention -f, then make sure like Docker Compose, like Docker 21. So if we use that name, then you need to mention that. Otherwise, by default, we need to use Docker Compose. Okay, so it's better use to docker-compose.yml. Then like what code is there to put here? Control C. I need to change the port because 8080 something is already running in my PC. So vi Docker Compose. So I2 is 3. Okay. So for running the Docker Compose, same way, docker -compose, then -d. Then if you want to create the image, then you can use it, but just we are using Docker Compose off. So it's in detach mode, so it's already created network and it already start the container. So same way if we want to see, so docker ps, now we can see this one, okay. So 8083, okay, this is Nginx. So now we can see the Nginx default website. So 8083, so go to that one. So we can see the Nginx default file. Okay, so this way basically we can use multiple container in a single file, and it's easier our work. Okay, so I can also put here another example where I use like different ways Python. So this way you can also run a Python application. That's all for today's video. Next class I will discuss regarding how we can install Docker, and I will show the most easiest way to install Docker, and I also show how you can push our local image to our Docker Hub container, Docker Registry. So if you found this video is helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get notified when I upload the next video. So up to that time, best of luck.